All right, folks, my favorite time of year because I get to go to Italy next month and drive awesome cars on some awesome roads, and it's time for a giveaway. Giveaways are always fun because it gives somebody a chance to go to Italy and do this amazing experience for a fraction of the cost. When I say fraction of the cost, for like 30 bucks versus going out there and spending over $15,000 or $20,000 to do it. So here's the deal. We're doing a trip. It's starting and ending in Rome. It's going up to Tuscany, Florence, Venice, Modena, Bologna, all the way up to the Dolomites, over to Lake Como, down to Cinque Terre, and back down to Rome. Now, if you want to come on this trip, giving you more than enough notice, it's going to be July 22nd to the 30th. I'm going to cover your flight. I'm going to get you a rental car, probably a Porsche, BMW, something cool, AMG, something in that realm, and I'm going to cover the trip for you. So if you want access to that opportunity, follow the link in the description. I'm going to put up 500 posters at $30 a piece. I will sign them if you'd like. I will leave them unsigned if you'd like. And I've got 18 smaller posters signed by Cletus McFarland, Adam LZ, David Patterson, myself, Kyle from Boosted Boys. If you want that, I've got 18 of those that I'll give to people that buy 3 or more, right? The first 18 people who buy 3 or more get those posters as well. It's one opportunity per poster purchase, so $30 per entry. 500 entries, because that's how many posters I have, and you guys will win yourself a chance randomly from those 500. One of you will be going to Italy. So check it out, link in the description. The 2 guys that won the last European trip loved it. They had a great time. It was Braxton and Preet was the other guy's name. They had the time of their lives. They drove the Nürburgring and did all these great experiences with us. Now it's your turn, so if you want an opportunity, you can't afford it, but you can afford to take a week off of work, pretty much no out of pocket here. You just have to get to the airport and back. Simple as that. Check the link in the description. Boom. First 500 people. As soon as it sells out, that's it. I'll draw a name and we'll start booking some flights. All right, what's up everybody? Rob Ferretti here, and this is a good one. I've been doing this now 20 years, and when I say this, renting cars. And I generally don't get surprised by things anymore, but this is the first time in 20 years I've had this happen to me. And like you see when I use GPS for trying to diagnose what's going on a rental, or if something happens, we try to break down the accident based on looking at the GPS. I'm not looking at the GPS all day long. I have much better things to do with my time. However, I gave this car to a customer for one day. Now, this is not a rocket ship in any way, shape, or form. Car gets, just say, 350 miles to the tank. It was a one-day rental. Guy was just going from here to Brooklyn and back. And there was a problem with it in that the gas cap here that opens was broken, so it wouldn't open. So you push it down, it pops open. But this thing fell in. Now, fun fact, that's about $600. And we had to fix it at the Aston Martin dealership. And the only way to pop it open, because that fell in, was to put a credit card into there and pop it open. But I figured the guy's taking it for one day and the dealer's waiting on parts. I'll just rent it out anyway because he's got a full tank and it's a one-day rental. You get 100 miles included, even if he goes nuts, right? He could bring it back empty. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't have to explain to him about the gas cap. Now, even objectively, if the car was going out for a week, I would just tell people about the gas cap. I wouldn't like not rent the car because of that. However, this guy only had it for a day. So I'm like, how far is the guy going to drive? Here's where we're going. And the guy calls me up. He's like, hey, I'm out of gas. And how do I open the fuel door? And I'm like, out of gas? Where did this guy go? And I looked and I was like, holy crap, he didn't go anywhere. I'm pretty certain that this guy didn't get out of first gear the whole time. And I'm sure he did, but his car, because he knows how to shift, it's an automatic, and he also knows how to shift it. But this guy had 196 speed alerts on my GPS in one day, in a couple of hours, and I was just floored. I've never seen a map look like this, that to have 196 speed alerts with a max speed of 67 miles an hour. Now let me break it down just so you know what I'm talking about here. A speed alert is when a car when the GPS measures rapid acceleration. They consider rapid acceleration 8.5 miles an hour of speed gained in 1 second. Now, that Jeep can't do that. It can't, you could drive down the road maybe If you try to launch it from a stop, you'll pick up 10 miles an hour in a second. This car probably can't do that above 70 miles an hour. I don't think it's got enough guts to accelerate that quickly. So I don't see a ton of speed alerts. When I see a rental, I always see speed alerts when people are like first gear, second gear, whatever. They're just feeling out the car. And I generally see if people are driving pretty hard, there's a bunch of speed alerts, but they always have a higher top speed, right? They did 120 miles an hour once just to be like, oh my God, this is so cool. But then they don't do it again. This guy never went over 67. And 67 is, objectively, they take an average, so it pings every minute for top speed. So the fact that somebody goes out and does 105, I may not know about it, but 67 paints a very big picture when you have 196 speed alerts. So this guy was sort of raging through Manhattan and burned through an entire tank of gas in 80 miles. And I was like, 80 miles to go through a tank of gas? Like, I ran the Silver State Classic in a Viper ACR, averaging 160 miles an hour. And I went through a tank of gas in 100 miles in a Viper, a V10. For this car to go through an entire tank of gas in 80 miles, like, could you imagine how motion sick you would get in the car with that guy? That guy's got to be 100% throttle anytime he's moving anywhere. And he's in Manhattan. Manhattan is stop and go traffic. You almost have to like let people go in front of you to then mat it to get to that sort of speed. This car, it'll do, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's a slow car, but it's also not a rocket ship. It's not a 1,000 horsepower car. It's not a McLaren. It's not a Tesla that's got instant torque. So for this car to pick up 8.5 miles an hour in 1 second, that's, again, first or second gear maximum. So if this guy was even just driving an automatic around town, then it would probably be in fourth or fifth gear. He wouldn't even be able to have enough room to step on the gas hard enough for it to drop from fifth down to second to then accelerate to pick that up. He was probably in manual mode, and he was probably driving in first gear 99% of the time until it was probably first, second, back down to first second, back down to first, which to me is astonishing. I've never seen anyone drive like that. Do I care? No. It's funny to me that this happened because in 20 years, I've never had anyone drive like that. I've never had anyone burn through a tank of gas that quickly in any vehicle, Lamborghini, V12 Lamborghini, like which are the biggest gas guzzlers we have, or like a Rolls Royce. Never have I seen that happen so quickly. So I thought it was entertaining. This car, it's obviously there's nothing wrong with the car. You don't get charged for anything like that. It just, when I saw that, I was like, what do you mean you need gas? Is there like a hole in the fuel tank or something like that? And when I looked at the map, I'm like, oh, Jesus, this guy does it. He gets at it. Now, he returned it the next day. It was a 24-hour rental. And in 170 miles of driving, he got 240 speed alerts. And when I say speed alerts, the acceleration alerts. And only like a handful of braking alerts. So he's not even going like stop and go so hard, but he's just accelerating and doing, I don't know, and decelerating with the gears. That's why he doesn't have the braking alerts. And the braking alerts, just so we're contextually accurate here, is 6.5 miles per hour of deceleration in 1 second. So 8.5 miles an hour of acceleration, 6.5 miles of deceleration triggers an alert that I just get a little flag on my system. So I'll see it as a triangle or a braking alert. So I found it interesting. If you want, I'll take it around the block. I like to measure stuff with my own driving, right? Like I'll drive a car. I'm like, oh yeah, I drove the car pretty hard. And I'll see like 1 or 2 acceleration alerts, or like here 3 or 4. It depends on what I'm driving. If I have one of my own cars in a rally or something like that, I always like look back to see like, oh, I bet this. And I'm like, wow, these people must drive it pretty hard to get all these acceleration alerts, because I don't even get them when I'm driving, and I drive quick, but I sort of maintain speed. So different type of driving. I'm a fast driver, just a safer driver. I'm not a thrill of the acceleration. But let's take it for a quick spin. I'm going to go up the block and back, or just around the street here, and see if I could trigger an acceleration alert. And you could see the type of drive I'm about to do and if that's able to trigger an acceleration alert or not. And actually, I just looked it up. It was 56 miles in 4 hours. That's why I was like, what is going on with this guy? And I warmed the car up already, just so you're aware, and you don't think I'm romping on my own rental car without letting it warm up. That's very important. A lot of people tend to not warm their vehicles up, and you got to do that. All right. There was first attempt. Let's see if I can get it right out of the gate. Side streets here. All right, we're accelerating. That had to have done it. That even spun the tires a little bit. See how many speed alerts I can get just driving around the block. I'll take it on the highway too. I'll just do like a little gas station run, as I like to call it here. All right, let's see if I can even get a harsh braking. Does sound good. And you know what? Let me also put my modes. Let me put my sport mode on, sport plus. And I got the suspension tight. Track mode. Get it. Now, for one, wasn't the biggest fan of the Aston Martin. I bought this as a rental car, and I'm a business guy, so I don't have to love everything I rent. But I know there's demand for an Aston Martin. The DBSs and all that stuff, it's too expensive to be able to price in the price category. Everybody that wants an Aston Martin doesn't necessarily want to pay the Lambo and Ferrari money. So that's why I bought this car to price. Oh, there's another Aston Martin. What are the odds? Oh, hello, other Aston Martin guy. So I didn't like this car, but when I rented from Zadart up in Seattle for my Canada trip, because it was cheaper to rent a car than it was to ship one of my own, I got the Aston Martin, and the first day or two wasn't a big fan, and it started to grow on me. It's a good grand touring car. And when it's in sport mode, it's a good time. It's a comfortable car for a road trip. It's got a little bit of luggage space. You get everything you need. So I appreciate the car. I just would never buy one for myself. And then it's got little things. It's one of the least reliable cars we have because of like $600 gas caps and nonsense like that goes wrong. Mechanically wise, it's pretty solid. All right, let's do the highway acceleration, and we're gonna go back, pull up my computer, and see just how much. All right, let's get a little bit of a gap here. All right, let's do it. That's acceleration, a little braking action. Let me go around this guy. This is just shifting manually. I don't think this guy's going to give me an opportunity to get in there because I'm getting off at this exit. I'm going to give you a hard brake here to see if I can trigger the braking alert. All right, let me put on my blinkers so nobody rear ends me. That's always important when you're doing hard braking. Hard braking, that's got to do it. And then let me do a wide turn here onto the block. And let's get some. That matched his top speed of 67 right there. But I was in fourth gear. I mean, you're driving, like, this is not like a normal human being driving around Manhattan. So let's give one more shot here. Second gear, around the turn. We'll keep it pointed straight. And one lap of the block, complete. All right, so I just drove that effectively as fast as conditions would permit around here, right? Like I open stretch, I gunned it. Stop for stop signs, stop for lights. I did everything I was supposed to do, but I went as fast as I could to go around the block. Let's see how that matches up to this guy's driving habits, just to give you context of what it looks like and feels like to drive at that level. And I was wrong initially. I looked it up again. It was 56 miles in 4 hours. A tank of gas in 56 miles in Manhattan is astonishing. And 4 hours, it's not like it was idling for 6 hours, which doesn't even burn a lot of gas anyway. I did trigger my braking alerts. There's my one braking alert here before the highway. This is my other braking alert when I was coming up on traffic. One acceleration alert on the highway, one acceleration alert when I spun the tires over here, and then one acceleration alert here. So I got 3 acceleration alerts, whereas this guy was lit up like a Christmas tree. Just paints a picture of just how crazy this guy was driving. 56 or 57 miles in 4 hours to go through a tank of gas in an Aston Martin, which averages, and I don't know what it even averages, let me look it up here. It's right here, 20 miles per gallon. So that means on an 18-gallon tank, it's a 360, 400 mile range. To get 57 miles is mind-boggling to me. But there's a first for everything. So I don't generally look at the GPS unless something bad happens or something that makes you scratch your head. This one made me scratch my head. Hope you enjoyed the story. No harm, no foul. Car drives fine, no issues with it. Some people enjoy cars differently than others. Thank you for watching. Rob Ferretti. Be safe out there. I'll see you next time.